Hey guys, Troy Francis coming at you from San Juan, Puerto Rico on the beach. On the beach, on the beach. And I want to talk to you today about the foundation of most relationships, which is really simply the fear of boredom versus the fear of being alone, okay? And these are the two drivers that people have to fight against the whole time. On the one hand, yes, of course, it's nice to be in a relationship. It's nice to feel intimacy. It's nice to be close to somebody. It's nice to have somebody that you can snuggle up with while you're watching Netflix, okay? But with it, unfortunately, comes familiarity, and with familiarity comes boredom, okay? And nobody likes to be bored, especially not today, especially not in 2023, when we're expecting fresh stimulation all the time, whether it's on our smartphones or on YouTube or on Netflix, or, you know, whatever platform it may be, Snapchat, TikTok, etc., etc. Okay, we want constant 24/7 stimulation, and unfortunately, relationships just aren't built for that, because people are inherently actually are pretty boring when it comes down to it. When you strip away the sex and, you know, the muscles or the you know, the nice legs or whatever it is, people actually can be fairly mundane in a domestic setting, and that's a problem because human beings get bored very quickly. On the other hand, we all, or many of us, fear being alone, okay? And so most people in the end gravitate towards some sort of relationship because they don't want to be alone, because it's so scary to just be on your own, okay? And that, I believe, is why many relationships perpetuate. People are afraid of being on their own. They can't handle that thought, and so they get into a relationship, but kind of going against that is that fear of boredom, or the threat of boredom that's ever present, all right? How do you resolve those two things? It's very difficult. I'm not sure that you can. There's certainly no easy answer to it. People are trying to find an answer with things like polyamory or polygamy or whatever, right? You know, they're trying to find that answer because fundamentally, human beings get kind of bored with each other pretty quickly, or certainly after a few years. And that's why there's this sort of move towards open relationships, and certainly cheating and infidelity has always been a thing. And, you know, what do you do? What do you do? We have this dual desire for security, for the security of the love relationship, you know, to have the partner by our side, the snuggles, etc., the holding our hand as we're in the hospital bed about to die, and all of that good stuff. But equally then, you know, really it gets a little bit boring as well. So how do we resolve those two things? And I think most people spend most of their lives in that bind, trying to find a way through. Now, there is, of course, another way of going at this, and that is basically to not get into the relationship in the first place and to remain single, because then you don't encounter the boredom. But most people aren't prepared to take that route because society demands that they get into a committed relationship. You know, even LGBT people now tend to be getting married and getting into committed relationships because that's what society tells us is the right thing to do. Okay, and so these people are getting into relationships, but then they're suffering the boredom, and they're having to then deal with that. Okay, and they deal with that either by cheating or ultimately by splitting up after a period of time. Usually, for the average marriage, within about 10 years, okay? So the other way around this is to just not get into the relationship in the first place and to remain single. Now, is that possible? Is that possible? And how do you deal with the feeling of aloneness? Well, dealing with feelings of aloneness is obviously a big topic, and we could talk about it for a long time. But is it possible to remain single and to date in a non-monogamous manner over a period of time? Yes, I believe it is. And the reason I believe it is because I coach a lot of guys who are even older than me. If it's possible for somebody to be older than me, I even coach guys who are older than me in their 50s, 60s, and beyond. And these guys, because I've met them and hung out with them, these guys are having a very good time of it, thank you very much, remaining single, okay? There are multiple websites and apps where you can meet new people, okay? You can meet people by honing your social skills, which is obviously what we teach. And yeah, you can bring new people into your life. We happen to live in one of the most licentious periods, probably the most licentious period that's ever come about in the whole history of humankind. Okay, so and there's really no need with online connectivity, with the ability to meet friends through groups, through online communities, and then meet up with them in real life, depending on your interests and so on and so forth. There should really be no need for anybody to be in this deathly kind of lonely old man stasis any longer, if there ever was. And I think things are a lot easier now, even in terms of friendships. Okay, and certainly for meeting short-term partners and so on and so forth, it's absolutely possible to do that in 2023, even as a guy who is getting into his dotage. Okay, is it for everyone? No, probably not. Is it always gloriously, wonderfully happy? No, absolutely. It isn't. But then, on the other hand, any decision you make is going to have downsides. There are going to be downsides whether you get married, whether you have children, whether you stay single, whether you become a meth addict. There's going to be highs and there's going to be lows. That's just the nature of life. So whatever decision you make, there's going to be good things about it and bad things about it. Is staying single and not getting into a committed relationship universally a good thing? No, of course it isn't. But then on the other hand, there's going to be downsides if you partner up as well. Not least the fact that ultimately your wife's going to probably get bored with you and maybe even run off with the pool boy, okay? If you're lucky enough to have a pool boy. And if you're not, you're a brokey. What the hell are you doing? There is another way around this, which is basically just not taking the traditional route. Whether you are, of a mind to accept that and take that route, to take that other path, is really up to you. But it certainly is possible. It's a lifestyle that is available, and I know plenty of people who are doing it, and they're having a pretty damn good time. Okay, so anyway, with all of that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please drop a comment beneath. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more of this world-class content. If you want to chat to me about your own dating life or your future with relationships and this stuff, you can absolutely do that. Drop me an email, troy@realtroyfrancis.com, or book a call on my Calendly link below. What else? Please buy my books if you haven't got them already. You can get this bundle. It's called Renegade Dating Blueprint. The link for that is below. And support the channel on Patreon. We are not monetized here, so support the channel on Patreon. It's only $5 a month. You get to ask me questions in these videos, and you also will get some exclusive content as well. Speak to you guys again very soon. From San Juan, Puerto Rico, goodbye.